I want to know how much longer the owner's going to watch this crap. Because the fans have had it. We deserve better. You're worried more about your stadium than you are your football team. That's the perception, Jimmy. Teams are hiring. The Falcons got their coach. The Titans hired. They're hiring all these coaches. What is taking so long? The Browns have been working on this for 3 weeks. What's going on? Is Andrew really running this, or is Jimmy using Andrew to do what he wants to do, the owner? That's a legitimate question. We've seen the meddling in the past. Is Andrew really doing this, or the Haslams have their favorites? People keep going, who do you want? Who do you like? Who do you want? I don't know. Folks, I don't know. I just know this. I don't like the process already. I don't. I don't. Do you have to keep Jim Schwartz? Do you not have to keep Jim Schwartz? Is he really in play for head coach, or is this just they want him around as a DC? Is he really that valuable? I don't.
Here we go again, folks. The Cleveland Browns are doing their signature move, completely falling apart right when it matters most. Every other NFL franchise is out here making power moves, bringing in coaches who can actually win championships and setting up their future. What are the Browns doing? The same tired routine they always do. They're overthinking every single decision, getting in their own way, and basically writing the script for their next epic meltdown. And you know what? Tony Rizzo has reached his breaking point with all this nonsense.
9 years you can't get to the Super Bowl. Got a problem with that?
I don't.
I don't either.
Look, this isn't some casual search for just anybody who can hold a clipboard. This is about landing the one coach who can actually develop a quarterback and put an end to Cleveland's endless cycle of heartbreak and disappointment. Instead, the Browns are absolutely butchering this opportunity in ways that would be impressive if they weren't so painful to watch. Here's what's happening right now. 10 NFL teams started this offseason needing head coaches. That's a massive scramble with everyone fighting for the best available talent. You've got franchises moving fast to lock up the next Ben Johnson, the next Mike Vrabel, the next Curt Cignetti. These are the coaches who can flip entire organizations in a single season. So what's Cleveland doing during this coaching gold rush? 3 weeks deep into their search, and they're still scheduling interviews while everyone else is already making announcements and building their staffs. Jeff Hafley just signed with Miami. Robert Saleh locked up Tennessee. Jim Harbaugh took the Giants job. And get this, Kevin Stefanski, the same guy Cleveland just showed the door, already got scooped up by Atlanta. The whole coaching market is moving at lightning speed, and Cleveland is sitting in the corner completely frozen by their own indecision and behind-the-scenes drama.
You have the worst offense in the league. Your GM screwed this quarterback thing up like I've never seen in my life. I've never seen anything like it. Kids that play Madden could have done a better job.
Rizzo laid it out perfectly when talking about where Cleveland ranks among the teams still hunting for coaches. You've got Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Las Vegas, Baltimore, and Cleveland all in the mix. Cleveland isn't exactly the dream destination everyone's fighting over. Arizona might be the only worst situation, and even that's questionable, because at least the Cardinals don't have decades of destroying coaches built into their reputation. This is where Rizzo really went off. He dropped the question that every Browns fan is thinking, but nobody wants to actually say. Is Andrew Berry really the one making decisions in this coaching search? Or is Jimmy Haslam running the whole show from behind the curtain?
Is Andrew really doing this, or the Haslams have their favorites? But Chris, at one point last week, I text Chops and I go, Myles Garrett's running the coaching search.
Word is he's pushing hard for Jim Schwartz, and this isn't just radio drama or hot takes for ratings. This is a real concern based on Haslam's long history of getting way too involved in football decisions. This is the same owner who has burned through coach after coach, creating such a toxic environment that quality candidates actually hesitate before even taking meetings with the team. The same owner whose idea of collaboration really means he's going to stick his fingers in every football decision because he signs the paychecks. Now, with Cleveland potentially about to draft a game-changing quarterback, Haslam's influence is all over what should be a clean, focused, forward-thinking search. The whole process is already tainted. Reports keep coming out that the Browns want to keep Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator, or they're seriously looking at him for the head coaching job altogether. That's not how you bring in elite offensive minds who can actually develop a young quarterback. Let's dig into this Jim Schwartz situation because it shows everything that's broken about Cleveland's approach. Schwartz runs a solid defense, nobody's arguing that point. His unit played well considering they were constantly on the field because the Browns' offense was absolutely terrible. But here's the reality check. Schwartz's defense went 5-12 this season. 5 wins and 12 losses. You don't build championship teams by holding on to coordinators from losing seasons. You don't attract top-level head coaching candidates by telling them who they have to keep on their staff before they even sign their contract. We've seen exactly how this plays out when coaches have to deal with organizational handcuffs. Boom, there's the truth. Stefanski dealt with predetermined structures and front office restrictions the entire time he was there. How did that turn out? 2 playoff appearances across 5 seasons with rosters that should have been competing for Super Bowls. Now Atlanta gets to deal with that headache. The Browns are running the same exact playbook, creating the same restrictive environment that has poisoned multiple coaching situations. Rizzo can see it happening all over again. If Myles Garrett wants Schwartz around, that's understandable. Garrett is the franchise cornerstone and his opinion should matter. But you absolutely cannot let player preferences drive your head coaching decision. You find the best coach available, give them complete control to build their staff however they want, and then get out of their way. This might be Rizzo's most critical point and it's getting buried under all the worst speculation.
I need offense. Yes, I know all the teams, 3 of the 4 teams left are defense and defensive coaches, I get it. But you still have to have an offense. Don't overlook that. And don't poo-poo that. You need to be able to have a team that could score points anytime they touch the ball. Not 12-play drives. You got to be
Explosive offensive systems. That's what's dominating the NFL right now. The teams still playing deep into January aren't grinding out slow, methodical drives that eat up the play clock. They're explosive, they're creative, they're putting up massive point totals consistently. Cleveland finished 30th in points per game this season, 30th out of 32 teams. You could have the #1 defense in the entire league, which Cleveland definitely didn't, and it won't matter if you can't put points on the board. Yet somehow this coaching search seems more focused on keeping defensive continuity than finding offensive innovation. That's completely backwards thinking when you're about to use a top 5 draft pick on a quarterback. Whether it ends up being Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, or whoever falls to Cleveland in the draft, that young quarterback is going to need an offensive-minded head coach. Or at minimum someone who makes offensive development the top priority. They need Kyle Shanahan's creativity and Sean McVay's innovation and Ben Johnson's aggressive play calling. What are they looking at instead? Possibly another defensive-minded coach with predetermined coordinators and organizational limitations already in place. Todd Monken is getting brought back for a second interview. Monken, who just spent 2 years as Cleveland's offensive coordinator watching Deshaun Watson struggle, is he really the solution? Rizzo doesn't sound convinced, and Browns fans shouldn't be either. What makes this whole situation so maddening is that the blueprint for success is right there in front of everyone. Teams across the league are executing it perfectly. Look at what Curt Cignetti accomplished at Indiana. Took control of a program, installed his complete system, brought in his own people, and won 11 games in his first season. No compromises, no committee decisions, no predetermined assistants forced on him. Mike McDonald went to Seattle and completely transformed that Seahawks team in 1 year. Dan Campbell turned Detroit from a laughingstock into a legitimate Super Bowl contender by getting full organizational support and complete autonomy. These dramatic turnarounds happen when ownership steps back and lets football people handle football decisions. They happen when coaches get the freedom to build their vision without constant interference. Cleveland is doing the complete opposite of this proven formula. 3 weeks of interviews, multiple rounds with the same candidates, rumors about organizational preferences and player input driving decisions. It's death by committee happening all over again.
Teams are hiring. The Falcons got their coach. The Titans hired. They're hiring all these coaches. What is taking so long? The Browns have been working on this for 3 weeks.
What's happening is exactly what always happens in Cleveland. Organizational chaos disguised as being thorough and careful. Rizzo also hit on something really interesting that's playing out across the entire league right now. Coaches are getting fired for roster problems, not coaching problems. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in Pittsburgh, despite cycling through Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields at quarterback. Sean McDermott consistently made playoffs in Buffalo, despite having limited weapons around Josh Allen for years. These coaches are being made scapegoats for general manager failures, and now those same GMs, or in Cleveland's case, the same ownership structure, are running coaching searches. The Browns have serious roster issues that can't be ignored. Deshaun Watson is a massive contract albatross. The offensive line needs major work. The receiver room is wildly inconsistent from week to week, but ownership isn't taking any accountability for those roster construction failures. They're just cycling through coaches and hoping someone can perform miracles with fundamentally flawed pieces. It's complete insanity. Actually, it's the textbook definition of insanity, doing the exact same thing over and over while expecting different results. Let's connect this back to why this moment is so crucial for Cleveland's future. The Browns are likely picking in the top 5 of the 2025 NFL Draft. They have a legitimate chance to completely reset the quarterback position, truly reset it instead of throwing more money at broken situations. Shedeur Sanders could be available. Other elite quarterback prospects will definitely be there. This is Cleveland's opportunity to start completely fresh with a young, talented signal caller and build properly from the foundation up. But you absolutely cannot develop a franchise quarterback without the right coaching infrastructure in place. You can't do it with organizational chaos, predetermined coordinators, and owner interference. It's impossible. Look at what happened to Baker Mayfield in Cleveland compared to what he's accomplishing in Tampa Bay with proper coaching and organizational stability. Look at Sam Darnold finally reaching his potential in Minnesota after years of dysfunction with the Jets. Young quarterbacks need stability above everything else. They need offensive-minded leadership and organizations that prioritize their development over all other considerations. Is Cleveland providing any of that? Based on how this coaching search is unfolding, absolutely not.
I'm not going to bury Andrew Berry and Jimmy before they pick the next head coach. I think Jimmy has a lot more to do with this, folks, than y'all think. I do.
What makes this even more frustrating is the complete lack of urgency from the organization. While the Browns hold endless meetings and conduct third and fourth interviews, other teams are building complete staffs, installing their systems, and preparing for the draft. Atlanta already has Stefanski implementing his offensive philosophy. Miami has Hafley building his defensive system. These organizations are weeks ahead of Cleveland in their preparation and planning. In a league where every advantage matters, where every week of offseason work can make the difference, the Browns are falling behind before the competition even starts. If they draft a quarterback in April, that rookie will walk into an organization still trying to figure out its basic identity, still putting together its coaching staff, still navigating internal politics and power struggles. That's not how you set up a young quarterback for success. It's how you set them up for failure. What makes Rizzo's analysis so compelling is you can hear the genuine frustration mixed with forced optimism in his voice. He's Cleveland through and through. He desperately wants this to work out. He's trying his best to stay positive about the situation, but you can feel it in every word he says. He doesn't actually believe it's going to work out. He's watched this exact movie play out before. He knows exactly how it's going to end. Cleveland fans have earned better than this. They deserve an organization that makes bold, decisive moves when it matters. They deserve ownership that trusts its football people and stays completely out of operational decisions. They deserve a coaching search that prioritizes finding the absolute best candidate available, not the most politically safe choice that keeps everyone happy. Instead, they're getting the same old Browns approach, overthinking every decision, overcomplicating simple processes, and inevitably under-delivering when the moment arrives. Cleveland sits at a massive crossroads right now. They can either learn from decades of mistakes and conduct a coaching search based purely on football merit, offensive innovation, and quarterback development, or they can continue down this same destructive path of organizational dysfunction that's defined this franchise for 20 years. Right now, every single sign points toward the same old dysfunction. The Schwartz situation, the endless prolonged search, the complete lack of offensive focus, the Haslam interference, it's all building toward another Browns disaster in slow motion. When that top 5 pick comes around in April, when Shedeur Sanders or another franchise quarterback is sitting there on the board, Cleveland better hope they've built the right infrastructure to develop that talent, because based on this coaching search, that's nowhere near guaranteed. Tony Rizzo sees it clearly, Cleveland fans see it happening, the entire NFL is watching it unfold. The real question is whether the Browns can see it themselves, or if they're too busy looking in mirrors, seeing what they want to see, while ignoring the organizational dysfunction staring right back at them. 3 weeks in, and there still aren't any real answers, just more questions, more doubt, and more evidence that some franchises are completely incapable of learning from their mistakes. The coaching carousel keeps spinning faster, the Browns keep stumbling over themselves, and Cleveland fans keep suffering through it all.